Today we are going to be creating a Piet Mondrian type project. So to start, on the back of your white paper, we are going to write our names in pencil and flip it over. You are going to have several papers at your table today, all primary colors, and we are going to be cutting squares and rectangles in all different sizes. To start, I am actually going to save a little time, and I'm going to put the three colored papers together. You might have smaller sheets at your table to start, but I'm going to cut some rectangles and squares, and I'm doing this with all three papers. So I'm going to get a lot of squares and rectangles to start. They can be long and skinny, they can be tiny, they could even be really big. So I've got lots cut out. I'm going to start to kind of put them on my paper in a design that I like. So I probably don't want to put them all in the same spot. I'm going to put some space between them. They can touch the edge of your paper. They can be floating in the middle. You could have some touch corner to corner. You can even have some on top of others. You could have them overlap just a little bit. But I'm just trying to space them all out. When I get a couple in a spot that I like, I'm going to glue them. I want to make sure I get them glued down, otherwise they're going to get lost, and I won't have them in those spots for next time. So I'm just putting a tiny little bit of glue on each shape. My goal is to really fill up my paper. I still want to see some white, but I want to have some of these squares and rectangles spread out all over. If you want to stack them, 3 is the limit to stack. So over here I have a blue, I have a red, and I wouldn't want to put too many more on there. I'm going to put a third one, and I'm going to say that's pretty good. When I'm putting these on, I am making sure that they are straight across or straight up and down. I don't want them turned so they look like a rhombus. Piet Mondrian always had them straight across on the paper. Okay, so I'm going to continue, and when I come back, you're going to see my entire paper having some squares and rectangles kind of all around. So as you can see, I have really filled up my paper. I still have a lot of white spots, but I have some squares kind of spread out and rectangles throughout my paper. Some of us, it might take us into the second art day to finish gluing all our shapes down. On our second art day, we're going to do a little printing to make our lines like Piet Mondrian. So we're going to print with cardboard, which is something we did earlier this year with our fall trees. So I've got one clean side of my cardboard, and I've dipped one long edge into the black paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp with this black paint to get some lines. So your lines can be horizontal, that's straight across, or vertical, straight up and down. I have stamped 3 times. I'm going to keep going and making this line really long. 4 times. 5 times. I haven't gotten any more paint. I'm still using the same amount I started with. 6 times, and now I see it's kind of getting a little faded. So if your line gets faded, I'm going to just get a little more paint on that same side. You can try to go on top again. Your lines can go on the edges of the shapes. They can go right through the middle of your shapes. Your lines can crisscross each other. You can outline your shapes with them. They can stop in the middle of your paper. They can stop on the edge of the paper. But do you notice how all of the lines I'm printing are straight up and down or straight across? I am never turning my cardboard at a diagonal. Piet Mondrian did not use any diagonals. He liked everything straight up and down or straight across. I'm not smearing and smushing. I'm trying to keep my lines really nice and straight. When you have your lines finished, and you get to decide how many that is, we're going to put our papers in the drying rack, and that is the end of our Piet Mondrian project.